All right, so we've talked about the program in general and the rules of the program. We talked a little bit about qualification, right? What is your experience going to be qualification day? So now let's get to the section where we talk about actually hunting and how that process will work. So you've successfully qualified, congratulations. Then the first thing that you may be thinking is, well, I want to go scout. I want to go learn my park. I want to go learn my area. Even if you've hunted in that park with us for years, things change. And you're going to want to get out there and you're going to want to prepare for the upcoming season. And we strongly encourage you to do that. So after qualifications, up until about 2 weeks before the hunting season starts, everybody that is qualified is encouraged to go out and walk the parks. Go learn your park, learn your section, find the flagging and signs that we talked about. Make sure that you're very comfortable with the boundaries. This is the time of year to do it. You don't want to scout during the hunting season. It's too late at that point. Prepare now. So scouting is going to be critical. When you're scouting, you're not permitted to hang tree stands yet. You're not permitted to do any sort of baiting until it's your designated time frame to hunt. So when you're scouting, you're just out there with hiking boots on, learning the property that you're going to hunt later in the year. Now let's talk about the actual hunting time. So your time has come. The calendar turned the magic day, and we call that transition day, by the way. So in between each session, there's 4 different sessions during a hunting season. We literally call them session 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to be assigned a specific session that you're able to hunt. The very first day of your session will be on a Friday, and it is called transition day. That is where the session before you, whichever hunters were in there, that's their day to pull their stuff out of the woods. And it's the day for you to take your equipment into the woods that you're going to need to hunt. Let's talk about that equipment. In this program, you can have up to 2 stands or blinds that you can take into the woods and set them up for your session. Now that's a total of 2. It's not 2 stands plus 2 blinds. An example would be, if you only want to hunt out of tree stands, you can have 2 of them. If you want to hunt out of a mix of tree stands and blinds, you can have 1 stand and 1 blind as an example. Trail cameras are permitted when it's your session. You can have up to 2 of those cameras so you can monitor activity in your section. And then we always get questions about baiting. Baiting can be an effective way to bring deer into a specific area. We do permit baiting in this program with a big asterisk next to that. And the asterisk is the bait has to be in its natural form. So what do I mean by a natural form? Corn is a very popular bait to use. You could go buy ears of corn, or you could buy bags of corn that are still in the kernel shape, its natural shape. And you can distribute that as bait on the ground or in a feeder would be another popular way to do it. You can't use bait that's not in its natural form. So I'll give you some examples of that. A salt block is very popular amongst hunters, not permitted in this program. Salt doesn't come in blocks naturally mixed with minerals, where deer are going to go in and paw the ground and create big holes, things we don't want in the park system. If there's other powders or liquids or gels, that's not in a natural form. So if you want to put out apples, great. If you want to put out pears or corn, it's perfectly acceptable. Only during your session, though, when you're allowed to be in that section. So it's your time. You've gone into the woods. You've scouted it ahead of time. You know where you want to set up your tree stand or blind or combination of. One thing to keep in mind, you may be hunting in an area where there's multiple hunters. right? You may be in a 150-acre area that has 3 hunters. Prior to transition day, get a hold of those other hunters and make sure that you guys talk with each other so you know where you want to set up. You don't want to set up on top of each other. If you're in an area that has 150 acres with 3 people, there's plenty of room to spread out. If you have any questions about that, or if you have any disagreements about where to set up or how to set up, please contact your park coordinator. They will help with that process if needed. Usually it's not needed, just work with the other hunters. Okay, so you qualified, you scouted, you've gone into the woods on transition day, you've hung your stand, you've set up your blind, you put out your bait, you put out your corn. You're all set. And now you're hunting, right? Every day during your transition period, unless we tell you something special is going on that you can't hunt, every other day you have full reign to be in the woods following ODNR rules, right? When you're actually allowed to hunt. You're obviously not going to be hunting in the middle of the night, as an example. So again, you're following those rules. You're out hunting and you successfully harvest an animal. Congratulations, that's what this program is about. And now you may be wondering, okay, I've got an animal, I've shot an animal, I'm now in the recovery phase. How do I do that, right? You would recover that deer just like you would recover a deer on public property or other hunting you may have done, right? After you shoot the animal, we like to wait for a little bit of time, make sure that animal has a chance to expire, and then you'll go and you'll track that animal and you'll recover it. If during tracking you realize that the deer has left the hunting boundary, you need to stop what you're doing and you need to call the park rangers and let them know of the situation. You're not in trouble, this happens, but because the animal has left the park boundary or even the hunting boundary within the park, because the animal's left the boundary, you will want to have a park ranger with you to continue the recovery of that animal. If the animal has died within the hunting zone, which is most frequently the case, then we ask that you go ahead and prepare that animal, gut the animal, where the animal has fallen, as long as that is out of sight from buildings and roads and picnic areas. If for some reason you feel that where the animal has fallen is not the right place to gut the animal, drag it a short distance so you can complete the task. But we do want that animal to be cleaned in the woods, because when you check the animal in, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, you're going to designate the location of what we call the gut pile. For integrity of this program, coordinators like myself and the other dozen plus that are coordinators, we do randomly check gut piles just to make sure that the harvest logs are very authentic. Okay, so you've harvested your animal, you have removed that animal now from the woods. Now you have 2 things that you have to do to complete the harvest, if you will. The first one is you have to check the deer in through ODNR. Just like you would check the deer if you were hunting on public land or somebody's private land that you have access to. Step 1 is with the state of Ohio. And there's information on your deer tag how to complete that task. You can do it by phone or you can do it by their website. When you check the deer in with the state of Ohio, you will get a confirmation code. That code is critical for step 2. Step 2 is you will check the deer in again, this time with us, with Great Parks. There is a harvest log. You will do that on the Better Impact site under logging hours. There'll be more information available about how to do this, but you are required to check the deer in using the confirmation number from the state of Ohio. You'll use that number when you log it in with Great Parks of Hamilton County. And you must record the harvest within 24 hours of it taking place. So if you harvest the animal at 9 a.m. on a Friday morning, by 9 a.m. Saturday morning, you must record that harvest. That is one of the rules of the bow hunting program. If you have any questions about how to scout, how to hang equipment, what is allowable from bait, how to check in an animal, and you've heard me say this in the other sections, contact your bow hunting coordinator at the park. And the one other thing that I'll stress in this section is hunter safety, right? So when you are actively hunting, there's nothing more important than you being safe. And you being safe looks like a couple of things, right? If you're climbing a tree, right? So you're using a tree stand, maybe you're in a climber, which is a sort of tree stand, if you will, that actually moves up the tree with you. You've got to have a safety harness on. There's no exception to that, right? Obviously, you don't need a safety harness if you're hunting from the ground. If it is during any of the gun seasons for state of Ohio, that includes a youth season, that includes a muzzleloader season, that includes the regular firearm season, you must follow state of Ohio rules and have on the appropriate amount and type of hunter orange. Even though you're bow hunting, even though guns are not allowed, gun hunting is not allowed in the parks, we must follow state of Ohio rules. So during that hunting process that we talked about a couple minutes ago, let's be safe. Let's wear harnesses, let's wear orange if we have to, because it's gun season, and let's always make sure of what we're shooting at, right? Let's make sure that what we're shooting at is a deer. Let's make sure we're making ethical shots. Let's make sure we're harvesting this deer in as ethical of a manner as is possible. And once you harvest, let's do the right thing for the animal. Let's quickly find the animal. Let's gut the animal, and let's take it back home to consume and enjoy with our family and friends.